So, Matt Hud, founder and managing director of Matt Hud Martial Arts, CIC.
Bloody homework.
I have. Martial arts started training in 1979 when you were 8.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
older than you.
How old are you?
I'm 54 this year.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, say it louder.
You look good.
Thank you very much. So, teaching since 2006, 2012 teaching martial arts full time for a not-for-profit community interests.
Yeah, that's
company.
what the CIC stands for.
CIC.
Yeah.
Empower individuals through martial arts and helping them build confidence and reach their full potential. You're a qualified NLP Master Practitioner.
I am, yes.
And trainer, a certified hypnotherapist.
Yes. So just be careful.
Yeah, I was wondering, just waving the hands around, shake my hands. So you incorporate the spiritual essence of martial arts, which you believe is key to personal growth and development.
I do, yes.
So that's the introduction. That's Matt Hud, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. I've got some warm-up questions. Would you like to say something first, or would you want to go straight into the questions?
I'll go straight into the questions. You seem to have done a bit of homework there.
A little bit. Right, so how did you first get interested in martial arts? Who inspired you? And what made you to decide to become a teacher?
I never thought it through about becoming a teacher. Well, I just thought that was the natural progression. It was, like a lot of people my age, is Bruce Lee. It was watching The Green Hornet. That, and as well as Monkey. Do you remember Monkey?
Oh, yeah.
Monkey Magic? Yes.
Yeah.
That was what my first favourite weapon was, a stick. And I used to carry, I shouldn't say this, but I used to carry a little cuddly toy chimpanzee around with me. On the end of this stick, because he was Monkey. It was,
okay.
Yeah, not just because I'm weird. But I was only about 6. So,
that's all right. You're a 6-year-old, that's fine. I'm going to step over here a little bit more. They can just get you in the picture. Yeah, it's about you, not about me. Right, so another question. What inspired you to start your own martial arts club and turn it into a non-for-profit organisation?
A lot of thought, and if I'm honest, I wasn't 100% sure if it was for me or not when I was doing it. I was talking with the council, and I was looking into becoming a charity or something similar, and somebody put me on to somebody who's organised CICs for the council, and it fitted with my values, if I'm honest with you, sort of thing. Really, there's a lot of, as you know, there's a lot of sort of thing in the martial arts instructor area about making money and things like that. Which, to be fair, there's nothing wrong with making money. I'm okay with that now. It's a business at the end of the day. But at the time, I just felt it fitted better for what I wanted to do for the community. And as you know today, when you've seen a lot of people come here and things like that, there is a big community feeling here. Definitely. And it just fits so much more into our values, really. And it does have its perks, really. I'm quite, if anybody like from the council, if they've got any martial art things that they need put on for schools and things like that, they come to us first. And we've got a bit of funding which has helped for this place. So there's pros and cons, but it's still run like a business, but any surplus profits have to go back into the community, so I don't actually own the business anymore.
No. And was it quite easy to set up a CIC?
No, not if I'm honest. Not if I'm honest. Once you've done it, it's a lot of paperwork, to be fair, and there's a lot of red tape you have to get through, sort of thing. But if you got the support there, like I did, I had a lady that checked the forms, they were correct, otherwise they just sending me back. But it took me probably about 4 or 5 months, really. But it's getting all your policies and procedures in place and things like that, because everything's got to be quite transparent, and that, which is what I liked about it, really. And it has helped a lot with my own finances, if you like, because now I give myself a wage. Where when I was a sole trader, I was getting mixed up with what should have been spent on the business, my personal money. But it's just give myself a wage now, and it's a lot easier.
Quite structured.
Yeah.
I think I need that.
Yeah.
All right then. So it's getting. The harder questions are coming, but can you share a memorable experience or success story from your journey as a martial arts instructor?
A success story when I was repeat the question.
When you're an instructor. So as an instructor, what success story sticks in your mind?
With regard to students? And
your students, or even the school itself, your achievements?
Yeah, well, there's loads, to be fair. I mean, just the community that we've created. I had a very limited belief when I first started teaching, because Hereford is a very small place. Whether I could ever make it work,
Right.
if I'm honest, would I be able to attract the students and things like that? Because there's other martial arts schools around here, and we're still growing, and there's still so many people out there that don't know about us. So just that is a bonus in itself. The other side is the coaching team. I'm very strong-willed. If somebody tells me it's not going to work, I want to make it work a lot of the time. And a lot of students that have come through the coaching team, they started when they were sort of 10 years old, 10, 11. And trying to be diplomatic how I say this, but you would never think that they would be running classes or taking a class.
Yeah.
But over the course of the way we've done it,
That's it.
and pushed them slightly out of their comfort zone each time.
Push them out the front.
Yeah, and it's just amazing to see them like running and being confident in front of people and things like that. And I've been told by a few people who I've taken on as a coaching team, some of the other instructors said, Matt, just lose him, he's not going to be any good. And that, to me, that's like a ball in a shop. I will make it work. I mean, I'm realistic as well. It's not everyone's going to be that great at standing out there, but most people, get through. Just some of the black belts we've had. When I've had coaching squad now, he's 17. He's got his black belt in kickboxing, and he'll be our first one coming through, hopefully, in April next month. And that really, and his confidence is just, he's the sort of person that everyone looks up to be inspired to, sort of thing, right? And he's never like that when he's young.
No?
So it's just.
The kids, do you get, what's it right? This is not written down. I'm just thinking about the school that I run. Kids can be, well, adults can be as well, but how do you find teaching kids their enthusiasm and motivation and their resilience?
You've got to make it fun, and you've got to get the parents on your side, I would say. Most of the time, when I'm teaching the kids and giving them words of wisdom, they're all great for the kids. They're taking them on it internally, but they want fun. So you bring it into it little bit by little bit, like you have little mat chats, then you get into the exciting stuff all the time. But most of my mat chats and the words of wisdom are just to the parents at the end of the day.
You're not just the kids.
And that, in its turn, the kids are getting a lot of benefit from it. The parents are seeing why it's so useful to bring the kids here. If the parents are on your side, then you'll be in half the battle, I think, really.
Yeah.
You're going to lose kids. Not everyone's going to make it and move through the ranks. The good thing here, we haven't got a conveyor belt of going through the grades. We do hold grades every 2 months, but that's because we're so busy and it makes the grades smaller. But we've got kids here that have failed gradings or haven't taken a grading for a long time, so they're not quite ready, and whether they will be. But they're still here. And our enrolment retention is brilliant, to be fair. And I've got somebody who's a brown belt, he's about 11 years old, and he failed his brown belt originally, got it, but he's still got so much work to do before taking his black. But he's still here, and he loves the classes and things like that. And it's about being realistic, I think, with people. It's about
this one, because I've been on a tour. I've seen all the pictures and the 10, I call them commandments, but you can explain that later.
The 10 essences.
Essences of what you teach and the martial arts. How do you incorporate the spiritual aspects of martial arts into your teaching, and why do you think it's important?
It depends what you call spiritual as well, really.
Loosely speaking.
To me, the mind, really, and how we work is so much more important than our physical abilities, if you like. Or just as important, and not more important. As we do, definitely with the Tai Chi, the Silat that I've recently qualified in teaching, has got a lot of spiritual essence. There's a lot of focus in on the ego, basically. Who's the ego? I grudge putting my belt on nowadays, and that's all ego related. The only reason I do is because I want my students to, so it's like I will lead by example. But controlling the ego is what life's about, and becoming aware and aware of your body, aware of your thoughts, aware of your, which leads into the martial aspect, aware of your opponent, aware of your surroundings and things like that. And I think the key to life is being aware, and we are spiritual beings. We are full of energy, and I think if you don't go down that route, you're missing a big thing in martial arts.
Yeah.
To me, and right from the word go with the kids, we still do, normally at the end, but occasionally at the beginning, we still do 10 seconds of silence. So they start to get, and they love it. They really look forward to that. We don't do it. Why don't we do it? It's like, and they don't fully understand what they're doing.
No.
But the fact that I'm getting them to sit still and notice things around them, but don't get distracted by it and things like that. And I think that's what makes us different to a lot of clubs.
And they're expecting it as well, and when they don't receive that at the end, they're missing it or looking for it.
Yeah. And if the energy, I'm as I said to you earlier, I don't make lesson plans as such. But as soon as the students arrive on the premises, something's going on in my head, and I'm thinking about like the energy of the room, how they're like, and sometimes I'll sit them down at the start if I've had to add words to them because they're scrapping in the corner or something. Like, it's just, while you're in here, you're not a kid, you're a martial artist and sort of thing. But when I get one of the mats, I might sit them down before the class starts. Yeah, and it just corrects your mindset, and we all need quiet. There's so much stuff going on in the world, I think, nowadays.
And back to the awareness thing as well. People have to be aware of where they are and how they're to behave or expected to behave. Like, many times you go into a cafe and there's, people are shouting rather than talking, or playing music loud on their phone, and
we just get constant stuff going on that's going to sort of get into our heads nowadays. We just need to be, I think nowadays we need more training in the mind and learning to be bored is a good one. or just accepting it, basically, because like kids nowadays they've got stimulus all the time.
Well, adults as well, but you're right, it's just ping 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 and
to it. Adults definitely as well, because I'm first to admit I'm addicted to my phone, but I've got the awareness to know what I'm looking at my phone again, let's put it down.
That's it,
and sort of thing and actually talk to my partner rather than talk to her like this.
Across the phone. Understand.
Sorry.
You're not in shot. I can be in shot all the time, but I don't want to be in the shot. It's your show. What are some ways martial arts can help people build confidence and reach their full potential?
Again, we have a belief, and it's a culture, that anybody can train and benefit from doing martial arts. So when I say reach your full potential, it is reaching your own full potential. We are getting well known in the community to have people from SEND, if you like, people with learning disabilities joining in. We've got a learning disabilities class, which is for people with quite profound disabilities, if you like. But we've got a lot of people in our mainstream classes with autism, Down syndrome, and things like that. And all right, you've got to be realistic. Some people, not everyone, is going to get their black belt. But they can still go as far as they can and enjoy it for what it is. At the end of the day, if they don't want to get into the fighting side of things, there's plenty of other stuff there for martial arts. Things like that. So that's the full potential. What was the other side of the question?
It was reach their full potential. How some ways martial arts can help people build confidence?
Oh, right from the word go, really. A lot of the stuff, because of my NLP training, which is all based on a lot of language, the language we use a lot of the time. Just in the class, I'm always correcting people when they're talking about themselves or something. If they say you can't do it, I'm always saying put yet at the end of it. Okay, so you tell your brain that you can do it and things like that. So it starts right from the word go. And if I get hear a kid belittling themselves, saying they're stupid or something like that, that's purpose. But in a joking way, and they love doing it sort of thing. So you don't talk bad to ourselves, because we're doing that all the time in brain, aren't we? Like that internal dialogue.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Yeah, and it's just getting them aware about that sort of thing. Just the shouting that's involved with martial arts, right from the word go. Some kids are very quiet and they don't want to express themselves because they've probably been told to shut up at home quite often. I often try, this is a safe environment to do that. So just, if you don't like shouting, just breathe to start with, and then put a bit of kia at the end of it. And things like that is learning to speak up. And we talk about communication skills and things like that a lot.
Use your voice as a weapon.
Yeah, I just think you've got martial and you've got martial arts. And it's the art side of things which is just as important as the martial, if you like. So it's you're teaching that all the way, and it's bringing the principles of martial arts into everyday life, which is what I'm still working on now. After I've been doing it 40 odd years, sort of thing. Like, and that we're not perfect, and we get worse as we get older. Then you try to correct things as you get older.
Almost back to zero. Again.
Yeah, basically.
You can check you're in the shot list.
Yeah, checking.
I think I've asked that one already. Is it asked as a qualified NLP Master Practitioner and certified hypnotherapist, how do you integrate these techniques into your martial arts training?
Well, this is what I've just said. Really, it's the language all the time, and that really just getting people aware with the meditation as well. We do at the end is getting people aware of their thoughts and their thought process and how it works and things like that. Start with hypnotherapy can be used. Not many people take me up on the offer, mind, but for people that are very anxious when they're grading competitions and things like that, definitely even visualizations is very linked with hypnotherapy. It's the same sort of thing. I use that a lot when I used to compete with visualization. And you see people warming up at the start and on for another 2 hours, and then warming up again, and then cool down, warm up. I just sit there and just visualize myself doing well and things like that. So that's very linked to hypnotherapy. But there again, people can always get me in. I do offer it to students if they want a bit of help, a bit of coaching to help with nerves, anxiety, and things like that, and to relax as well. The biggest essence of martial arts is getting people to relax. Yeah. So, it's very stiff, like robots.
Yeah, we said that at the beginning. And I think you agree. You had a taekwondo background.
Yes, I started when I was about 18 and finished at 30.
So you see the difference when you see a taekwondo. You know it's a taekwondoist or a karateka because they come in, they're so tight. Yeah. I've got a friend that tells me that as well. You're too tight. Relax.
It's and going back to the yin and the yang. One of my instructors says that you'll never be an ideal martial artist unless you've got the yin in you, the feminine. And we're all masculine. You need that feminine side of it, that softness. Bruce Lee was saying that in the 70s.
Exactly. Yeah.
Really. Be soft, and softness is harder than hardness. Or stronger, if you like.
Goes back to the water thing again because it penetrates rock.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like a laser, is it?
Yeah, there's a reason in the army that they teach you to be pitching chest like this, and it's all yang, isn't it? Because they want them to go out there fighting. But you need to be. Steve Rowe is one of his favourite quotes is soft front, hard back, and it's about being nice to people, having a soft front, but hard back as well. So you've got it there to back it up if you need it. Things like that. So that's the art side, taking it into life. You see. But I'm still trying to master it.
We all are. And today's world as well is different now. We can get triggered by so many things. And I don't mean nastily. I mean just even the phone, even an electronic device, it can trigger us.
My computer.
Or someone writing something stupid on Facebook.
Printer's not playing up, or something.
Something going wrong.
Throughout lockdown, I actually threw a laptop out the window. The window was open.
So only the laptop was lost.
It was like, I lost it. But then I've got the awareness that I'm going to work on that. They're not all perfect.
No, you took that as a lesson.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's just starting their martial arts journey?
Shop around. I always say shop around. I don't believe it is the martial art. I probably have an opinion that some are better than others, but really at the end of the day it's the instructor, I think, really, and how he's teaching it. Really, because a lot of martial arts, they're traditional. They're meant for the battlefields years ago, and they haven't modernised, which is fine. A lot of our style that we teach, you've got the classical side, but it depends what you want it for. If you want to learn self-defence, you've got to be realistic with what happens in the street, and that really. Same as the grappling side of things, really. A lot of that sport and things like that. So you wouldn't want to be grappling, putting people in arm bars on the floor if you're teaching self-defence, because multiple opponents, you get somebody banging you on the head. So it's being realistic with what you want. Find out what your outcomes are, whether if you want to do it for the sport, self-defence, or just learn traditional martial arts, and shopping around, finding the right instructor for yourself, really. And don't be fighting to change. That's what I find a lot of people, definitely the more experienced martial artists, the hardest thing I had to do, I'm not knocking you here, Ian, at all.
No.
Hardest thing I had to do was quit Taekwondo to
Yeah.
start doing Kung Fu, because I'd got to first dan and there was a lot of ego involved and things like that, and would I want to start again? That's why I've got a lot of respect for you today, coming down here and training under other people, something totally new to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like being a beginner again.
It is good. Love it.
Yeah, and that's what we want. You need to feel like a beginner, I think. So yeah, so for beginners, just shop around, make sure you've got the right environment, the people makes a big difference. I always say, if you're looking for the instructor, seeing if they're a good instructor, look at their senior students. And and then you'll sort of get a gauge. And that's why I train with under Steve Well quite a lot in the Tai Chi, and always top students, you can tell that they know what they're doing. You can feel it as soon as you challenge to them, you know that they've got it. And if I look at the students, top senior students, you'll be able to tell what the instructor's like. Things like that, really. But don't be fighting to say no, it's not for you. And move on. Which I've done a lot of times.
So you don't regret moving from Taekwondo. Would you have liked to have kept it up on this, not on the side, but just as well as, or you're glad it's gone?
Now I am glad. It took me quite a few years, but now what I'm doing now is more suitable for myself. I don't know. I can't really answer that question honestly because I'm not doing it. But I know a lot of the stuff I'm doing, because my hips are pretty dodgy, is from bad stretching in the 80s.
Yeah.
When you've got people, not learning how to kick in a mindful way. And a lot of the kicks that's been brought on, I find, it's mainly just my opinion and a bit of research. A lot of the kicks that are in martial arts now were never in them years ago. They've been adapted for the sport and things like that.
Yeah. I'm not going to say the style, but
and like you look at Tai Chi, and it's only got about 3 kicks in it, and they're more making sure your hips are aligned and things like that, really. So I think it's the training side. What I'm doing now suits me because I can still kick. I mean, we do a lot of floor work in Silat, and I kick better on the floor than I've ever kicked. And that because it's a bit like yoga on the floor, but martial sort of thing.
Yeah,
right?
you have to get your position right to kick when you're on the floor.
Yeah, definitely. And it suits me what I'm doing now, really. That's all I can say, really. So I did love Taekwondo, and I do knock it a little bit. That might be the instructor that I had, sort of thing.
I think that's a norm for Taekwondo.
Yeah.
If they have left or if they've moved organisations, they will have something to say about that last.
But it got me my basics. But when I started the kickboxing, which was just after that, or towards the end of it, I had to learn to keep my hands up and things like that. And that's really, and I was never taught that sort of thing when I was doing it. No. And that, again, that could have been my instructor. There was not, we live in Hereford, at that time in the 80s, there wasn't that many clubs around, and I didn't drive and travel like I do now. So it's there's no regrets. No. It's just, it is what it is.
It was a stepping stone. Right. Here we are. This is still the first level. We've got another. This is the question 8 of 10 in this section. This is the easy section. How do you keep your students motivated and engaged in their training?
Good question. It is hard, and I think, which I've discovered over the years, that I am quite a people pleaser, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you just got to be aware of how much you give in. I don't think it'd be so popular if it wasn't for my people pleasing skills to start with. I've learned to say no a lot more nowadays, but you can't keep everyone motivated, but we do our best to keep the classes lively and try and make sure that they're evolving. Our students, definitely our children, so there's a few adults that don't, is minimum of twice a week. We don't have once a week training here.
Don't have once a week training?
No. If I can ask you a serious question, do you know anyone ever, do you achieve their black belt training once a week?
No. I do not know anyone.
You can't do it. And I was just finding that we were lying to people, really, and nobody. And since we've changed that, minimum twice a week training, the grades have progressed so much quicker, and the standard has got so much better.
I've just tried to do that, and I gave everyone a couple of months' notice from yellow belt up twice a week training. Because how did you find, as an instructor, teaching people who only came once a week?
At the time, or after I brought twice a week in?
Well, before, when you had once a week available and people were taking up the once a week, as an instructor, how did you find teaching once a week students?
Frustrating. One of the things I say this to my students. I'm quite an honest instructor. I do try and say it in a nice way, mind. If I'm given, because when we've got the classes and we've got enough coaches, I'll take some of the students off, and it's like their special bit of one-to-one with me. If you haven't practiced what I showed you last week, then you can go back into the line of work. I want to see you putting time in and making sure, definitely the senior grades. And if they're doing that once a week, it's a long time before they come back again. Definitely if they're ill once. If they're ill once, that's 2 weeks they've missed. But
holidays,
so it's not so people remember stuff, retain more stuff, information on twice a week than once a week. And now I didn't tell people that everyone that's on once a week have to train twice a week. I just said from now on, anyone that joins our club is on twice a week, and by that, the ones on once a week could really see how much they were progressing the ones on twice a week. I think I've got 2 students now, still from the old school, that one once a week. They've stuck with it, to be fair play to them, but it's been a slow process for them.
Definitely twice a week minimum, and then you'll see your own progression.
We've got unlimited packages. We've got some people that live here almost.
I think I met some of them. So the last couple of questions. Where am I now? Number 9, I think. Can you share any tips for balancing physical training and mental and emotional well-being?
Yes. Have breaks in your training. My training has changed and evolved so much since I've been training. Probably not so much physical nowadays, because I'm putting on a bit more of a this is my chi, I say to people.
Cheese.
So you get it chi. You get it when you get into advanced training. But I used to have the mentality of no pain, no gain years ago, sort of thing. A lot of my limbs are quite rough and buggered nowadays, but that's could be me using an excuse as well, really, because I'm so tied up in the business. I'd say, one thing, I'm always working on my own training, but not as physically as what I used to do. No, if I'm honest with you, now I'm aging a little bit, but you need that balance. You need that balance of, like me personally, definitely my mental health, which I'm talked about, quite open about. The meditation is a really big factor in my life, really, to keep me sane and things like that. But so is the physical and things like that, really. So it is having that balance. And again, one of our principles is awareness is key. You need the awareness to know if you're overdoing it and things like that, really. And I've burnt out quite a few times over my life, and that's why I'm quite aware of what happens when you keep going on and on and on, really. You just need that time to reset your brain, and it's getting into a good system. Structure, something that I hated when I was younger, is really important to people.
My nemesis.
yeah. And even with my partner, my wife, if we've got stuff that we want to do, I put it in a diary and I'll treat it like work. Otherwise, it doesn't get done. And that, really. So it's taken me a long time to go from the old diaries, which we used to write in, to digital, but it helps so much more, really. I class. If I want to put my own time in for myself, my own training, I'll class it like an appointment, and that, really, if you were ringing me up and booking one-to-one, I'd be there. So I try and do the same. I do try and do the same. And again, I'm not perfect. I let things go a little bit, and then I get back to it and things like that. But it's working. Work in progress is my favourite word.
I heard it a few times today. That was a good one. Yeah, I like it. What are your future goals or aspirations for your martial arts organisation?
My main focus is to not work quite so much, and concentrate more on my own self. I mean, I want to write a book one day. I want to do a podcast as well. I've got lots of other projects that I want to do, as well as my own training. And my biggest weakness at the moment is that I'm still working quite a lot in the business itself and taking a lot more classes. I'm never going to stop teaching, ever. I'll say that at the moment. But I'd like to just teach the classes that I want to and make sure that they're covered well. I mean, we're getting a good coaching team up and running, to be fair, and it's getting easier. I'm having a bit more time off now. But yeah, I'm married, I've got grandkids. I want to spend a bit of time with them as well and enjoy life as I'm getting older, really. So that's my main dream. But for the centre itself, a lot of people go into franchising and things like that, which I'm not really keen on, to be fair. I've got a lot of instructors definitely teaching the Tai Chi that would like to branch out a little bit and things like that. So I'm happy to go with the flow of that, really. The main thing is this centre still needs a lot of work doing to it. We need to do have that room in there. We've got heating in this room. So there's still lots of stuff that needs to go on, really.
A lot of projects.
Yeah.
It's like being at home.
Yes, well, to be fair, this is my home sort of thing. Like, really.
Second home.
I've got so much DIY and things like that to do at home, which just gets neglected. But here it doesn't.
Well, I know it's got more priority. I suppose. Just don't tell them.
Yeah, just don't tell. Right.
Yeah. Mental health is the next section. Now, I don't know how deep you want to go into, the mental health side of things. You brushed on it just then, but I'll ask the questions and we'll see what I'm.
Yeah, I can always tell you that. Yeah, it's not.
Okay. How do you think practicing martial arts can positively impact mental health?
Well, it's scientifically proven that exercise is going to help release happy chemicals, if you like. So that's a start. We all need that side of things. It's just when our mental health isn't as great as we like, that's when you don't want to do it. It's forcing yourself to do it, or changing your state, if you like. So you got that side with the meditation. Nowadays there is so much research out there, and I don't believe that there's any other sport or activity. Swimming's good, but it still doesn't give you the life-saving skills in a self-defense situation and other things. That there's no other activity out there that's got so many different benefits. Tai Chi, you'd be hard proven to give me any element in life, and it hasn't got help, it won't benefit, in my opinion, really.
Just in Tai Chi?
Yeah. But yeah, for the mental health side, to me, I've always called it my anchor, really. To me, it's my purpose as well. So I've got something to climb out of bed for. I'm accountable for my students. When I am having a really bad bout of depression, I can't say I don't want to go to work today. I can't ring up the boss and say, look, I'm sick. I've got to turn up. If I don't turn up, as much as we've got great coaches here, if I don't turn up, there's always that worry that things will slide down and go back, and I'm pushing it all the time, the business sort of thing. So yes, I just think, just movement. Anybody who's been seriously ill with mental health and things like that, they know that moving is the biggest thing you should do. Moving. I mean, people say put on music and things like that, but that still gets you moving, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lock
yourself in, go for a walk.
Yeah. Your brain, the more you stay still, your brain will sort of slide under, if you like. So just the movement side of things, forget about the self-defense element of it, sort of thing. But to me, as I'm getting older, it is just movement. And again, everyone knows punching things at the end of the day. Yeah,
there's a pad on the wall. You want to go and hit it.
A punch bag and things like that. Yeah. It just lets stuff out of you, and that's a lot of the stuff that I've gone through myself. It's your own worst enemy. It's just your brain sort of just closing in on you. So you just by exercising, doing movement and things like that, just releasing stuff, releasing all the shit and things like that.
Exercising. Yeah. You're exorcising as well.
Yeah.
Get rid of the devil.
Yeah. You need to, and maybe I've made myself again accountable to be here, sort of thing, like really. So I haven't got the option of sort of sitting in self-pity, if you like. And then no matter what's going on for my life, I've got people relying on me and things like that. And I think if you do it for yourself, it's harder. But if you're doing things for other people, it gives you that incentive to you don't want to let people down and things. That's the positive side of being a people pleaser, you see.
Right, there is a positive side.
Yes. Yeah, because you don't want to let people down.
That's true.
And things like that.
Yeah, you want to be there for people.
If I said Sodom sort of thing, I can't be asked today. Whatever happens, then that gives me the reason to stay at home and just sit there and self-pity and things.
So you've got this, and it gets you out of bed.
Yeah.
And you love it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely on a Friday because it's nice and relaxing.
It was, yeah. This is Friday now. We're recording, and I joined in. I tried to record it, but I don't think I was successful. But it was. Everyone was, I'm very happy to be here, but they just got on and did it.
Yeah, it's just, and that's what I like.
Chatting to each other, friendly environment, and the whole place is lovely. We'll go for a tour at the end.
Yeah.
show everybody at home. We've got another question we've got quite a few on mental health, but what strategies do you use in your classes to promote mental well-being amongst your students?
I'm always talking about states and things like that, really. Like, for example, we have to change our state for self-defense. I'm not going to, if Ian's talking to me, I'm not going to be saying, hello, how are you? And please don't hurt me, sort of thing. I'm going to be changing my state to wanting to hit him and things like that. That's in the martial side of things. But when I'm talking to the kids and things like that, I'm often talking about we've got a happy state, we've got a sad state and things like that. And it's about learning to be aware of what state you're in. If you're not aware, you can't improve things and things like that. I mean, then we work on the meditation side of things as well. So everything we do in self-defense, by changing my state, if I want to elbow Ian in the face or headbutt him or something, I've got to change my state for that, because I can't do it when I'm in a nice happy mood.
Right, so
that can be related to life.
So even a defence or an offensive, you have to be in the state appropriate.
Yeah, definitely. Well, definitely if you're like myself, like most people that come to martial arts are not thugs. They're nice people that want to either gain confidence and things like that. So a lot of the times they're not used to changing that state into somebody that they need to be, like an animal. If you need to be, if you're going to, I don't know, take my dogs away from me, sort of thing, I'm going to change my state instantly. I'm not going to let you do that.
Yeah.
So it's learning to be able to do that without the stimulus, if you like. Because like if you're going to steal my dogs from me, that's a stimulus to go mental. But if you're in if you're stealing my pocket money at school, okay, I might not change my state. I might not know how to. I might not sort of tell you like, no, that's not appropriate. Just bloody piss off, you like, sort of thing. So it's learning to sort of mindset is key, I think, with martial arts, things like that.
And there's
really
different levels as well, different states.
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. And I'm always talking about this in class, really. Obviously, if I'm doing competition, like we used to do a lot of point fighting years ago, I need a different state for that compared to if I want to rip your head off, isn't it? I don't want to be doing point fighting and having that state on me. I want to be, but I still need that competitive state. I don't want to be too passive and things like this. I need to be able to be switched on. So it's the same as really talking to your wife. You need a different state to be in, depending on what's going on there. So yes, and I think that's valuable, really, learning that sort of side of things, really, in my opinion.
How important do you think it is for martial arts instructors to address mental health issues with their students?
Yeah, I think it's well, I mean, nowadays people are talking about mental health a lot more, but there's still a big stigma. Definitely as people get older, definitely it's going back to the masculine, the ego side of things. Women do a lot of talking. I don't want to sound sexist or anything there, but they do talk a lot more than blokes.
They talk better.
Yeah. And we're silent people and keep it on in ourselves and things like that. And I think the more we talk about it, people accept it's okay to talk about it. Sort of thing. Obviously, I'm not one. I mean, not myself. If I'm feeling down and things like that, I'm not going to just go into the shop and start talking to the receptionist or whatever about my profession and things like that. I pick the right people. And that's really important. And I did have a bit of a burnout last year, one of the worst ones I've had for a long time, sort of thing. And I had to find the right person to talk to. And at the time, I couldn't even, bless her, she knows about it all now, I couldn't even talk to my wife because she was too close.
Nice.
But I found the right person, and after I just cried, and I just needed a good cry and sort of get back together and things like that, really. So it's finding the right person. Because not everyone wants to hear your problems, but you need to find that person that you can trust, really. And I think talking about it in class, I think for most of my students, I'm hoping that I could be a nasty instructor if I want to be. Definitely when people go for their senior grades, but I also want them to be able to trust me and be able to talk to me if things are going on, things like that. And sometimes you cannot talk to your parents if things are going on. So we were sort of in an indirect way. I mean, that's what Sifu means, isn't it? Sort of thing, father-like figure at the end of the day. So we are, and we've got a lot of responsibility for them kids, and we can talk to them a lot more than what their parents can. Because I remember when I was about 14, I'd never talk to my mum and dad about anything.
No.
Yeah, but in an indirect way, we can sort of bridge that gap, I think.
And I would think that you'd rather they came to you than whatever it is they do on TikTok.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
You get advice on TikTok. Or
Yes. Yeah, and that's another thing, really. Social media side of things, and that we live in a different world nowadays, really. I mean, they know more about social media than what I do, sort of in TikTok and things. But it can be a savage. I've gone viral a few times on TikTok, and the comments I've had is just unbelievable, really. Just because people don't understand.
No.
And that really. And that's for me. So these kids, they get it all the time, cyberbullying and things like that. So I think it's really important. Really, that's another benefit of martial arts. Really, is getting people off that side of things and communicating.
Get off the computer and come to martial arts classes. As someone who advocates for mental health awareness, what advice would you give to someone who may be struggling? Look at adults and kids, maybe do both.
I would say my first reaction to that is to say find somebody to talk to, but that's not always that easy.
No.
There are plenty, and this is another thing really, and sometimes I might get told off saying stuff like this, but there's no excuse nowadays. I don't think there are. All you have to do with Google and things like that, it's not hard to find support centres, people that are non-biased, whatever, with Samaritans and people like that. There's plenty of helps and support out there, and it's finding that really. And most of the time when we are suffering with poor mental health, you don't want to do it.
That's it, you're sunk. You don't want to pick yourself up.
And this is something I've got into trouble with in the past, it is the most selfish illness you can have. Because obviously you're just thinking about yourself a lot of the time. Okay? That's why people who submit suicide going to the far extreme, they're not thinking about the people who've left behind.
No.
It's because they can't cope with it. And I'm not saying it's the coward's way out at all, because you have to be very brave to do stuff like that. But you need to be able to talk to people and find something out. And it's like, stop thinking about yourself, just do it. And most of the time we're so stuck up here.
Yeah,
and that really,
get some help.
It's reaching out to them. And if you haven't got nobody to reach out to, there's plenty of support groups out there. Really.
And as you said, they're on Google. Or,
they're not hard to find nowadays.
I would say go to the GP, but
it's still. People talking about mental health a lot better, but it's still us getting our own way a lot of time. And it's clearing them, getting out of your own way, and just asking for help.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling really low, I know you feel like shit yourself. You feel like I had so much self-hatred at one point for myself, so you don't want to reach out. But it's nothing lasts forever.
You push people back away because you don't want them to see you this way. Right?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah, definitely. I'm terrible to be around when I'm like that, but I know it, and that's why I really work on trying to sort this out, really. And that you have to. You only live once. We don't know what's going to be around the corner afterwards.
Hopefully not a train or a bus. Do you incorporate mindfulness or meditation practices in your martial arts training, and if so, how do they benefit mental health?
They're all linked. I think that martial arts is mindfulness. I don't think it helps mindfulness. I think it is mindfulness at the end of the day. You cannot be a good martial artist unless you're mindful of how your body's moving. Okay, and again, going back to some arts, they work mainly the legs rather than the arms and things like that. It's having that mindfulness to know what your legs are doing at the same time as your feet.
You touched on that in the class earlier.
All the time. You have to be. I think, one of the essences of Tai Chi, which over the whole, is knowing what your upper and lower limbs are doing at the same time. And most people don't, because we so focus on what I call the shiny objects, your hands and things like that, but you're not aware of what's going on down here. You also need to be aware, moving on a little bit, you're supposed to be aware of your thoughts process. If Ian wanted to punch me at 1 o'clock in the morning outside the chippy, I'm not going to be thinking, he's tough, he looks really hard, he's got a black belt, God, he's got some big muscles on him. Because that's not going to do me no good. I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to have a mantra in my head, so I'm going to fucking hit him in a minute, I'm going to hit him. Otherwise, I'm going to get negative thoughts going in my head. Okay, I'm watching him move and all sorts. So it's learning to control your thoughts. When you're in lessons, we've all got to learn to be good students. Okay, and that's the biggest thing what I say to my students, really, you've got to be the best student in the room. And that is learning to listen well. Because how many times do you listen? When you're listening to your instructor and all of a sudden your belly's moaning and you're like, when's dinner time? How long's this going to go on for now? We can't help it.
Where's the clock?
But you've got to train your brain to take in as much information as you can. Because all of a sudden your instructor's saying something really interesting, it's like, oh shit, I missed that. What's he talking about now? So it goes right from the word go. Even so, I've been studying martial arts for 45 odd years. I'm still working on these sort of stuff all the time, and that really. So it is mindfulness to me. Okay, it's not the fighting side of thing is just an added bonus, and I love that side of stuff. But as I'm getting older, there's a lot more elements to it than just fighting.
Yeah.
That's why I hate all these slogans. Keep it real, okay, and things like that. And that wouldn't work in the street. Fuck yeah, does it matter?
No, yeah. You get Facebook, the keyboard warriors, and you get someone demonstrating it's demonstration.
Yes,
It's not
it's a drill.
industry,
It's a drill. And no, it's not meant to work on the UFC.
No, or BBA. But it's working in the drill, and they're practicing in a drill. Would it work in the street? Well, we don't know until it happens.
Yeah. And you cannot plan stuff that goes on in the street. That's why in Silat we got the very short forms, they're called duros and things like that, and they last for literally 30 seconds or so. But it's the way they're done. They're supposed to be chaotic and replica what would happen in a street fight. Because if I block this here and punch you here, next time you're going to throw something else. It's like, you don't know what's going to happen in the street, and it's responding the best you can. Really.
That was the drills with the pads earlier.
Yeah, that was a
Strikes.
mixture and things like that, really. And I'm always stressed in the class when we do pad combinations, is if it goes wrong, just smile. Don't get pent up and frustrated about it, because if I aim for you and hit you, I'm thinking I'm going to hit you in the street and you suddenly move, or somebody else jumps on my back or something, it all goes pear-shaped. It's like Mike Tyson's old quote. What was that? Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and it's so true.
Mind you, who's going to punch him in the face? Do you incorporate mindfulness? I read that one already. What role do you think physical activity like martial arts plays in managing stress and anxiety? We kind of covered it already.
Yeah. Yes. Again, my favourite principle. Awareness is key. So everything goes back. That's what I'm saying to you earlier. Really, everything does go back to the principles. Really. If you haven't got the awareness, you're not going to be aware of how stressed you are to begin with. We all carry stress. How many times when I sit and then when I do meditation, my meditation practice is not as good as I'd like it to be. Okay, but I do miss out some sessions. But every night when I get home, I'll sit down in a certain chair and just notice the stress and the tension I've got in the shoulders, and I'll just let it go. And we're carrying this all the time with us. And again, awareness. You watch people when they first learn martial arts, their shoulders going to be up like this. And it's just learning to relax, and that's the same as stress, really. Obviously, the exercise, releasing the feel-good chemicals in your brain and around your body and things like that, is going to really help with stress and things like that. One thing I've noticed when I've stopped training physically every now and then in my life. Like, definitely got married, I went through a bit of divorce, and I stopped training for nearly a year or so. I was still doing it in my head, but it's not till you stop that you realise how much you're missing it and how much it's helping you. And that really, definitely as I'm getting older, because my training's changed a lot. And to combat stress, I used to just beat myself all the time, but I can't do that so much now. I can't go for running because my knees and my hips and things like that. So
just get on the bag and smash it.
Yeah. So I've got to change it a little bit. But it's just noticing things like that. We need if you haven't got it, you will miss it, and you'll notice you'll get a lot more stressed. It's life at the end of the day. So there's loads of stuff.
Loads of pros and not so many cons. But giving up is definitely
and that's why I do lots of different martial arts. Really, kickboxing I still teach, but I can't do it. But I know the science, I know how it works and things like that, but I'm not going to kick to the head and things like that anymore. I often get my younger students to demonstrate and things like that. But my training's changed a lot. I'm working on a lot more Tai Chi, a lot more Silat. The Kung Fu, we kick low, you have to kick high. So it suits me and things like that, really. Yeah, you have to change it and progress and evolve to yourself. I mean, my instructor, one of my inspirations, got him on the wall, my Tai Chi instructor, Steve Rowe. He's had half his leg cut off. He's on a wheelchair most of the time, and he still teaches seminars, and his knowledge is still amazing. I'm going up there next weekend to train underneath him. But and how he handles stress is my inspiration. and that really, because he's got so much medication and things like that to help with it and things like that. It's been ongoing for quite a few years. So yeah, you can learn from other people, but if you can still teach, I've got no excuse.
Mr. Miyagi sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
How can parents and guardians support their children's mental health through the involvement in martial arts?
By getting into class,
Mm-hmm.
just turn it up.
Answer, isn't it?
Turn it up, yes, definitely. And it is supporting them. And again, this might be controversial with lots of people, but I can often tell if a student's going to stick it for a while by their parents and how supportive they are, and the relationship they've got and things like that, really. And it makes a big difference, really. That's why I always try. I am rubbish at remembering names, definitely as I'm getting older. I blame my dad for that, because he calls me all sorts of stuff. But it's one weakness that I'm trying to work on all the time, and getting to know the parents' names really helps as well, and having that relationship with them as well is so much better for the kids as well, really. Because if you're feeling tired and you've got kids and things like that, and you're feeling tired and your kid is feeling a bit tired, I don't really want to go to maths tonight. It's so much easier for you to say, okay, then don't.
You're enabling your child by not going.
Exactly. So it's having that relationship with the parents and making sure that they're enjoying their time here, as well as the kids and that, really.
It's hard for mums and dads as well. I don't know about here, it looks like you've got a seating area and it's got nice books and coffee.
It has downfalls and upfalls.
Well, hard school benches, I feel sorry for the parents that come and sit and wait on the benches or sit and wait in the car.
Yeah.
Because where the classes are, they haven't got too many things around them to go and do, where it's an hour.
Yeah.
So they go.
At least we're not playing football on a Sunday morning in all weathers.
There you go. Or rugby. Prefer rugby.
So I've got the warmth in there, but yes, we do try and cater. I mean, in that hall, that's room that's going to be done up eventually, we've got a little play area for the kids and things like that, really, because we've got a lot of brothers and sisters to go. It's trying to think of every need that we've got, sort of thing, really, that's going to make people happy and stay here and have that environment. Really, definitely. And we put the heating on for parents. Don't like doing it, mind you. But yes, it's making sure that they're comfortable as well. And we on a Saturday morning, it's not going at the moment, but we used to have like a coffee morning as well, and that, but the person that was doing it's left us now. But we still provide tea and coffee if people want them, and things like that. And it's just, we'll buy a coffee machine soon. It's making them feel welcome and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the first things that we get feedback from, is from new starters, how we make them feel. And that to me, that's what we're about, really. And then it's not mollycoddling people, if you like, before we get into the real martial arts.
Right.
the self-defense side of things. No, but as I said, some people don't necessarily want that. They want to enjoy the martial arts, and even if they stick at it for a year, they've gained a lot of lessons from us and things like that. And I'm realistic, not everyone's going to get to black belt.
But as long as they're enjoying the journey.
And it's been a purpose in their life at the time.
And everyone will start off at a safe level.
Get
chucked right into black belt sparring or anything.
No, we've got all our classes. I think every single class we've got different. I mean, the Monday kickboxing, everyone's in together, but most of our classes are different graded, ordered. Right, like this morning, it's a small class, Friday Kung Fu, so everyone's chucked in together. But on a Monday, we split them up for beginners and junior grades, and then senior grades, and things like that. So it's like a nice tailor system, if you like, if you can filter down, and then move on to the more serious stuff as you get on.
Yeah, and the kit you've got a wooden dummy there. We'll have a look at that later on. And you've got the weapons. They're all blunt.
Yes, they are. Yes, and that's notice we've got the bit which we corner off.
I did see that. They take across.
Yeah. They are blunt weapons. We don't have real. We've got real weapons here, but we don't have them available, if you like. But it's part of the Kung Fu side and the Tai Chi and the Silat. You use a lot of weapons, really.
Yeah.
Something that I was never into when I was younger. I couldn't understand weapons.
Yeah.
You don't walk around town with a sword, do you? Nunchuckers I've always liked, better than the staff. But couldn't see the point of training weapons when I was younger, when I did Taekwondo, really. Yeah. But as I progress, most of the arts that we do are weapons based. So it makes you understand why you're doing what you're doing. And some of the stuff in the kung fu, same as taekwondo, you have to really search for it to find why do we do that. But then when you put a weapon in your hand, it changes things.
Maybe get a demonstration of that later on. The ones you showed me, it was open hands, and I can see that adding the weapons to the hands, it changes it, but it's exactly the same movements.
Yeah, definitely. If you got, it's like we use a lot of cram bits when you're using elbows, and we're doing striking through the cram bit and things like that. And they're nasty things. Yeah.
Don't try that. I'm lost where I am now. There's all these questions here. Meditation, we did that one. Parent support, right? So this is the last one in this section. In what ways do you think martial arts can contribute to breaking down stigmas surrounding mental health?
People like myself, if you like, that don't advocate bad mental health, but we're okay with it, sort of thing. Talking about it a lot, really. I think all the time, breaking down barriers. People think, for some reason, I don't know if it's true or not, if I'm honest with you, but with a bloke, because you've got all this ego and things like that, we think if we've got mental health problems that we're weak. But it's not. It's nothing to do with being weak or strong. And that's why I think people like myself need to come out a little bit more. Tyson Fury's done a great job, saying about his bipolar condition and things. But yeah, the more people that come out about it, I think the weak side of things, people thinking that mental health is to do with weakness, is changing slightly. But we still need to work on it, I think, a lot of times. So yes, it's nothing to do with if you're weak or strong. No. Okay, there's people out there that get paid for boxing and things like that, and like Frank Bruno's another one as well, like world champion and things like that. But as soon as he stopped training, that's when all the stress started happening and bipolar came out. It's a natural thing, unfortunately, to do with the brain, the way we think, chemicals in your head, things like that. Yeah,
just happy chemicals.
Yes.
The good ones, the legal ones.
Yeah, I'm not into. I've gone down the legal medication a couple of times in my life, antidepressants and that sort of thing. But on the whole, I mean, there's no better medicine than martial arts or training at the end of the day. And if you can control it that way, it's a lot more healthy for you. Less side effects as well. Yeah, so definitely.
And you don't get hooked on.
Yeah, and you can do. Yeah. Because I did work in. That's what one of my stories is really. In 1996, that's when I had my first nervous breakdown. I ended up in the mental health unit. And 10 years after that, I was actually working in mental health in the same unit. And so that's what I always wanted to do, really, was get into mental health. That's when I started university. I just realised that's not for me. I want to just do martial arts. But I'm glad I did it, and I've got a lot of experience after working with people with lots of different mental health problems as well. Sort of thing, like. So,
You're in that arena anyway, even though you haven't gone into it directly through NHS.
That's what that's the way I look at things, really. So yes, definitely.
Right, number 3. We're getting near the end. How do you manage to keep the old school values of martial arts while also keeping up with how things are changing in the world?
Wow, this has changed a lot since as I've got older. I think I'm going back to being old school a lot more now than what I used to.
I feel I'm the same.
Yeah. Because I think we all need old school values. I'm not going to name any organisation, but I've worked in a lot of schools recently, and I'm shocked. But politely, I'm shocked by the lack of discipline, the way that the teachers are being taught, the lack of control the teachers have. I suppose my parents used to say about the old Bobby that used to slap around the head. Yeah. It's that sort of thing, really. I think we need martial art traditional values in people's lives, really. There's nothing wrong with being a bit respectful and learning that. I mean, even in class now, I banned the word "what." If I'm saying something and a student says "what," I ban that. I ban stuff from the coaches as well, which they can't say as well. It's done in a fun way. But I just think that's just respectful of just what, that sort of thing, really. So right from the word go is when you bow on the mats, it represents respect. But I also say it represents being grateful to being I mean, where else can you go and you can practice breaking people's arms and things like that on a human being? You can't. Other people, my Silat instructor often says, other people that don't do this just probably think we're mad if we say they do this in our spare time, learn to punch people and things like that. It is crazy if you think about it. But it's about learning to be grateful and things like that to your partners. Yeah. And that etiquette side of things, I think I'm bringing in a lot more now, because when I did Taekwondo, that's something that I really appreciate about it. It was very traditional, very military sort of stuff, and I liked that when I was younger.
Respect was there,
and after a while, I think I lost that a little bit in the classes, but I brought it back big time, and it's making a big difference. And the students, my little students, do it. Bow to me more times than I think about bowing nowadays. They're coming.
They remind you.
Yeah, they do. I'm sat in the office, and they come in the office and they're bow to me before leaving and things like that. And it's that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it really. And I think the parents know that and they like it really. So and that's, I think we need it.
The courtesy and respect is something you'll teach from day one.
Yes, definitely. And that's why we have beginners lessons, and then we keep the first people. The first belt we do after the white belt, which is what you get originally, is the red belt, and we keep the whites and the red belts together, because after they pass their first grading, it's the red belt's responsibility, if you like, to help the other ones out and to teach them, and they're not allowed into the blue belt class until we think they've got the right respect, the right attitude in class and things like that. It doesn't always work like that, but most of the time it is, and we're noticing the way they filter in through the classes. They know that they've got to be at that level before getting in, and it gives them something to look up to and aspire to. You know what I mean?
Not just the next belt they're going for; it's the next classification of environment.
One thing that I say in class, which sounds a bit rude to start with or shocking, I often say to the kids that I don't care how good their martial arts are. I don't care how good you can kick or punch. What I do care about is your attitude in class, and that's going to get you good. If you've got the right attitude. Muhammad Ali used to say that about boxing. It's not about how good you are, it's about your mindset and how hard you train and things like that. And I say that because I certainly wasn't a natural when I was younger. No. I was always a person who was picked last at school and things like that and made to feel really stupid and things. But I was determined. And I used to go to classes and get beaten up and go back for some reason. Our classes aren't like that.
We haven't learned a lesson yet. We should go back for more. During your transition from martial arts training to running a successful business, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them?
Putting on many different hats. One of our dreams, as a martial art instructor, most martial art instructors' dreams is to have their own dojo or kun or centre. Without actually thinking it through, without actually knowing what goes on behind the scenes and things like that. That is one of my biggest changes, if you like. Is I was all right when I got this place. I was working on my own. It was nice and quiet here. Nobody interfered with what I was doing or anything then. But I was burning myself out again. I was realising I had too many students for myself, so I took on another instructor. That's when things started changing, because I can still run the place how I wanted to when I was on my own. Now, if I'm on my own, I can be a right miserable git. It's okay. because there's nobody to watch you and be around. But since I've taken on staff, because I've got say altogether 4 full-time staff here now, and that's taken on new hats. I'm having to learn to be a manager and a leader now, and I'm noticing if I've got bad folks, it trickles down all the way through their staff and team and things like that. And consistency. I'm not the best at being consistent, because I'm very a bit like you. I think I'm very all over the place. My brain is
fireworks.
I'm thinking about this, thinking like that, and that's the way I work. But it's no good for my team because they want to know where they stand, and that's what I'm really learning a lot. Really, I've got to be consistent. I've got to be the person that they're looking up to and following, and that's been my biggest change in myself. And I'm still working at it.
As a team, though, each person then's got to try and adapt, or at least accept how the other person is.
Yes.
And work, their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. Going back to martial arts. is learn to be tolerant of each other, and you've got to bring that into your life and working team as well. And that, no matter how popular you are or how many friends you have, there's always going to be somebody that's pissing you off, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
But that's not normally them; it's normally to do with you.
Yeah, that's the what is it in you that's pissing you off about them?
Yeah, nobody can really piss you off because you let them.
You win it, yeah, exactly.
So,
right, we're getting a little bit more, I don't know, to the bone maybe, I don't know. What's your opinion on the traditional belt ranking system in martial arts? Does it truly reflect a student's skill and dedication?
okay, it depends on the school, I think, doesn't it? And it depends on the instructor.
But your school and you're the instructor.
Well, me personally, I do go on about this quite a bit. I think it's about personal development. To me, martial arts is personal development. It's one of the arts, one of the activities, if you like, that is focusing on yourself, unless you're doing like team competitions or something. And I always say to my students, never compare yourself to other students. Everyone's on a different journey. I think I try my black belts. I know what I want from my black belts in the kung fu and the kickboxing, and I sort of reverse engineer, if you like. So on the journey, I've got a different journey for each student. It's hard work in my brain, that is, good, but I literally do know each student's strengths and weaknesses and things like that. So it's how far they've come. So the end result when you get to black belt should be roughly the same what we're looking for. Okay, and I'll be honest, if you can get to purple belt and that, unless you're going to commit even more or work harder at it, then you won't make brown belt. I'll tell them, I'll be honest, like sort of thing, like really. So the standard will change all the way, but the brown and black belts should be roughly the same, in my opinion. And nowadays, I mean, our yellow belt is quite high up. You've got yellow, purple, brown, and then before going to black. In a lot of styles, that's the second belt. Yeah. So it's only really the purple, brown, and black. So when the public come in, they know that they're quite high.
Yeah, high up. Yeah.
Okay. We are the word what people often use nowadays. A McDojo. We do hold grades every 2 months, as I said before, but that's only because we've got so many students, and they know we actually hand out envelopes for people to grade to stop people expecting that they're allowed to grade.
So what's in the envelope?
An invitation. So they get invited to grade.
If they're eligible.
Yeah. And when they get to orange belt with the kids, we give out tags as well. So they've got 3 stages to stop them moving too fast.
Yeah.
Because it's not hard. Our syllabus isn't hard till you get to that green belt. I mean, for your first belt, the only kick you need is a front kick, and that's it. You don't do turning kicks or side kicks. It's just a front kick.
But there's other stuff.
There's other stuff as well. Yeah. I'm more strict on stances and things like that, getting the foot foundations right. And then second belt would be turning kick, and third belt side kick. It's not until they go from orange to green that we bring in a few other kicks. They still learn them in class, but they're being assessed just on that to get that right. And even with a turning kick, YouTube turning kick, there's about 6 million different, well, not quite 6 million, but there's a lot of different ways of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And because I've done so many different arts, that's got to be adapted to the person as well. The type of turning kick you do, because the hips, some people have got a bit more stiffer hips, so you have to adapt it and change it.
Yeah, and the age.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's all different. So yeah, I think I try and stay out of, if you like, dishing other schools or anything like that and saying about standard. I think you need to look at the senior grades and things like that, really. And it's relevant. It's got to be appropriate for that person. Okay, I say I run an inclusive learning disabilities kung fu class. We haven't got a black belt in there yet. We've got a purple belt in it. Who's got their purple belt? Are they ever going to be as good as somebody fully abled? But their journey has been like a lot more challenging than anybody else. Yeah. So it's all relevant. I think it's subjective, if you like. Yeah, definitely. And it's my main concern is when they get to black belt that they have the confidence to be able to stand up to themselves and get themselves out of sticky situations. At the end of the day, not do a massive tornado spinning, sort of back kick and things like that.
That might not ever be used.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Would that work against MMA? I don't know.
Yeah.
Not many questions left now. I keep wanting to spin off into different when you say something, I think, oh, maybe if I ask about that.
That's why I said my brain goes like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to control myself here, but it's the level quality that you're looking for. So you're looking for quality, obviously, so they can pass the grade, but not really until brown and black. Are you looking for absolute quality, or there's still?
I'm looking for improvement. Improvement, really. This might be making it hard work for myself. Every grading I do, that's why we like small gradings, I will give you a mark. I will write down notes. And I've been to gradings myself, been graded, and there's been like 30, 40 students. They brought somebody down who doesn't know us from somewhere else. He's supposed to have assessed us, and he hasn't even looked at what I'm doing.
No, he's looking at his coffee or pennies.
And I never want to be like that. And people respect it, that they will get a mark and they'll be told what they didn't do so good on, what they did good on, and that needs to be improved to the next time. So it is, as I said, it's individual progression, and that's hard work for myself. I've got quicker at it as I've been doing it.
Yeah, there was a lot of writing, remembering.
Hence why we do grades every 2 months, so I can have not so many people to do it.
I'm going to pick up on that as well. McDojo and grading every 2 months. I don't see the connection. Go and tell me.
I've belonged to some associations in the past, and I've learned a lot from it. It's taken people 18 months to get a black belt, because they grade people every 2 months, and all they're worried about is getting people in their teaching system, and getting through people to black belt, so they can start teaching for them and giving them money, and it's a franchise, things like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying all franchises like that at all. It was just a bad experience on my part, really.
Yeah.
And they were graded every 2 months. They grade every 2 months, and then when they got to, I think it was brown, it was 6 months from brown to black. And if you calculate that out, it is 18 months, the quickest time you could have done your grading in. Which to me didn't need to fight either. Okay, it was kickboxing at the time, and kickboxing is fighting. The word kickboxing is a ring. It's fighting. So
that's all it is. Well, I mean, I've got a syllabus for kickboxing, but ultimately you're prepared to fight.
It's maybe the sports side of things, but it is still. Hence why I changed mine to Chinese kickboxing, because we've got a lot more self-defense into it and things like that.
You changed mine.
So that's why I say when I say grading every 2 months, I always word it like that, because people think, I'm grading people every 2 months. No, not at all. You have to grade.
There is a grading.
Yes.
I think because I was the same. I mean, 2 months was a grading every 2 months, and people may or may not grade. And I was worried that I was in a dojo. But now you've explained it, there are gradings, but not everybody will.
No, not at all.
Grade.
Not at all. Some people have to wait a long time. As I said, I am quite a harsh instructor in that way. I want people to grade and feel proud of the grade they are. And I don't care if that's red belt, white belt, or orange belt, or whatever. Really, definitely. So it's got to be hard, but not impossible, but hard. They've got to be proofed, and every single student will be proofed differently.
Yeah.
Because our black belt, as I said, lasts for a week, and it's a hell of a journey, but I would grade you differently than I'd grade like a 16-year-old. But I'd still push you, and so you wouldn't know what to expect either.
That's it. There is the syllabus, but there's an element of surprise in you have an additional.
Oh yeah. That's why
thing
it's
to do or
done.
whatever.
Yeah, that's why it's done every week. You get a timetable, but it's a very vague timetable.
You don't know the answers. You don't know the questions. Right? But the questions will be relevant to what you should know.
Yeah, and it's all. I think that's what it should be like, really. I think life is full of surprises, ups and downs, and things like that. And it is an up and down roller coaster. And that you do the fitness test. You do a fitness test with every grading. And that's done on the Monday, the first day. So if they don't pass that, they don't carry on.
Fitness test is on a Monday. How long does a grading last? If someone's going for their purple belt or the yellow belt?
That depends on the person, really. But I've had people that come here from Mark, who you spoke earlier, and he's never seen gradings as hard as what we do. But that's just good from his experience. My gradings, if you like, something I'm proud. I've got 10. I've done probably 10 black belt gradings in my life, and some of them have been like Jeff Thompson, did Boomer, which was over 2 days for 14 hours. Jeff Thompson was about 4 hours, but it was just dead hardcore. I've done a grading for 6 hours, and the kickboxing, which was pretty hard, and then I've done a kung fu grading, which was 55 minutes, and I felt afterwards, is that it? So I've got quite a lot of experience of different varieties of gradings, and I've sort of immersed them all into sort of what I feel is best and acceptable to be passed as a black belt. To me, a black belt means like a degree, basically. That's why in a lot of arts it might be dans, but in kung fu and Chinese martial arts it's degrees. Yeah. And a degree, it's at university, you would not get by just turning up once a week and not getting stressed and not putting yourself through it. Yeah. And it's just like it's like a degree basically, but in martial arts you can start getting paid for it if you want to and things like that. So it should be hard work, but not impossible. Depends on the person. So yes.
And do you do any history, the questions? Is there a syllabus or a part of the theory? You can take on its theory. I just don't know how you might name it, but theory is a series of questions about the history or the geography or particular techniques or.
Yeah, well, ours, and I'm honest about this again, our system is a bit of a hybrid system. It's a bit of everything that I've ever studied over my time. So, and that's why I say we run our classes on principles as well, because it's so much easier. And hopefully you understand why I sort of say principles a lot, because it always every technique comes back to principle based. And like Thomas, for example, is doing his first degree grading this and next month. He's got to teach 2 classes. He's got to do a seminar on a Saturday for the kung fu class. He's got a 1,500 word essay he's got to give me, which has to be about anything on the syllabus, if you like. It can be on a principle, it can be on a form, but basically it's got to be like written about that. And then he's got the practical side of things as well. And it's a lot about the communication. And I know Thomas is the one that I was speaking to earlier, who has come on loads with his speech and communication. But one reason why he's got to teach the Tai Chi, because it's the hardest class to teach, and to get your message across and communicate when it's so quiet in the class, because everyone's doing things nice and slow. And then he's got a seminar on Saturday, so there's a lot of communication stuff thrown into it, because I know that that's where he's weak. So I will pick on your weak points, if you like, just to get you really pushing yourself and things like that. So yes, the answer is yes, basically, but they've got to know, definitely, they've got to know why our syllabus is done the way it is. Definitely our Kung Fu syllabus. Every form you do is another layer from the last form we did. Like, I mean, you got sort of John Sao, which is stood still, will learn to root and things like that. But then you got Chart Choi, which is the next one, which is all about footwork and stances. And then Fark Yu goes further into the stances and things like that. So they're all layered each for a specific reason. Like the walks will mix up with will be linked to the forms. Forms are going to be linked up to the hand and kick blocks as well, what we do. So yeah, so it's all linked up, and there's a reason why I've done it the way I've done it. It's only taken about 40 years to get right, but it's a work in progress again.
Right, I don't know if I've asked that one already. Oh, here we go.
Some good questions.
I think I've missed a few. I think I'll have to go back. I keep getting things popping up on the screen.
Yeah, it's annoying when you're videoing as well. Something rings you up.
I think that's a good one. Could you share practical self-defense tips that everyone, regardless of their martial arts background, should know?
Awareness again. Awareness. It does come down to awareness. Keep it simple. I'm designing a ladies only self-defense thing, which I had trialled a few weeks ago, which is going to be called KISS, and just keep it simple. Because people so far overcomplicate things, and I love all the complicated stuff. I love all the wrist locks and the arm bars and all that sort of stuff, and the really fancy stuff. But self-defense should be keep it simple and being aware of your posture. Like if I didn't know Ian, I wouldn't be stood here like this talking to him. I'd have my hands here at least, sort of thing, and being at a safe distance. Knowing your distance is really important. Okay, because so many people need personal space. I've had one student's mum, not with us now, just like this, and it's like get back. It's just weird. But yeah, it's knowing your distance, learning to soften your gaze. I call it the sausage finger in the kids class. Have you done the sausage finger?
Not the sausage finger, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you have two hands like this, and you bring it back, and you're looking through your hands.
Try this at home.
Yes, and you'll see like a chocolate sort of sausage.
So lift your fingers up to your
Bring your hands together and look through it, and you'll see. But that is what you should be using all the time. So when I'm talking to you, I can still see the camera, I can still see what's going on. Yeah, it's your peripheral.
Yeah, relax your eyes. So the eyes are not looking dead ahead like you're looking fiercely at the road or a proponent.
Which again takes a lot of mindfulness, but even right at the start of the class, if I'm teaching, I say learn to look over my shoulders. Don't look at me. Yeah, don't look at me and things like that, because it's mindfulness. It's just bringing it into your everyday life, and you notice so much more stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like, go back to Bruce Lee. Don't look at the finger. That's what he's talking about. It's like,
you miss all the heaven and glory.
Yeah. So, but yes, it's just being aware really, and making sure if I'm talking to somebody, I've still got one leg forward all the time, sort of thing. And I'm ready. Yes. I call it healthy paranoia. So you don't want to be paranoid all the time, like walking around like this, being at the bank account, sort of cash point, looking over your shoulder, but you're still aware.
Yeah.
Of that, really. So, yes.
Good point. Do you believe competition is essential for martial arts growth, or can it sometimes hinder a student's progress?
That's a good question, because my opinion is probably changing that a lot. It helps. It definitely helps. I think people get too fixed on, if you don't compete, that you'll never be a good martial artist and things like that. I did, when I competed, I probably entered continuous runs. The rest of it was just point fighting. And I love point fighting, because to me it's the psychology behind movement, and you're reading body language all the time, sort of thing, and it's like speed, timing, and all that helps. But I would argue that mindset is the most important thing in a self-defense situation. Looking at the freeze, the fight, and the fight response. Basically, you're shitting yourself. It's easy to be able to train your self-defense, all your fancy moves in the gym, isn't it? When you're out in the street at running in the mornings, and that takes the biggest training. Unless you're students and you're encouraging them to actually go out there and pick fights on the street to get used to fighting, it's which is not what we do. It's very hard to pressure test that. So you can only pressure test it. We do pressure test stuff, definitely going for black belt and things like that. But it's hard to do it realistically without hurting people. Yeah. And I don't want my students to hurt. I'm going to lose money and they're going to be off training and things like that. So we try and pressure test it as much as we can. But I think mindset is so much more important. And I suppose competitions help with the mindset, because you have to change your mindset, really. You can't go into a competition thinking you're going to lose. No. So it does link up. I wouldn't say it's a must, if I'm honest with you. A lot of people might disagree with me with that. But I did, as I said, I competed for quite a long time, and I did taekwondo and kickboxing. And I've only been in a couple of scrapes, and the last one was when I only met my wife for about 2 weeks, and it was her son that got us into a fight. And I wouldn't say that the competition stuff helped, but the mindset stuff did, and the stuff I did with Jeff Thompson helped more than anything.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's what you can summon up at the moment.
Yes.
That's going to make you survive.
That feeling, which people leave far too late and they get banged. That feeling about the moment just before you're going to make a decision to hit somebody. I teach a lot of preemption rather than wait to be attacked. And doing that takes guts. It takes a lot of mindset and power. Things like that. What happens if it goes wrong? What happens if it moves? What happens if it doesn't work? Okay, there's loads of stuff that could be going through your head. And that's why I say about that mantra that I use all the time. So yes, you need. I would say mindset is more important, but it all links up together. Things like that, really.
All comes together in a nice big pie. What's your views on the commercialization of martial arts? Is it diluting the essence of traditional practice?
Yes and no. I don't believe it needs to dilute. You don't need to dilute your standards to make a good business run. It's probably easier if you do dilute your standards and just let anybody come in and give them black belts and please people all the time. It's probably a lot easier that way. And it's probably more challenging by keeping your standards good. But on the other day, definitely time. I think time and consistency really helps getting a good reputation and that. Because I don't think Alfie Lewis really worries about who he brings into his class, but he's got some bloody good students, and he teaches them like old school. So I don't think it does. I don't think you need to dilute your stuff. I mean, I certainly haven't. I do cater for people, probably more than what I would have done the way I was taught in the 80s, things like that. If I taught my classes like we used to train in the 80s, you'd probably have about 5 students at the total. So you do have to, we have diluted stuff then, but as I keep saying, the end result is more important. And I want people to benefit and enjoy martial arts, and you have to cater for that. I mean, even in the Kung Fu, some of the conditioning drills that we used to do, like batter, I've still got marks all down my forearms from the way we used to do it.
Conditioner, the types of press ups used to follow.
Yes.
Hands and everything.
Yeah, we still do stuff like that, I'm afraid. But it's done a lot more safer than what it used to do, things like that. I don't get people on your shoulders when you do your press ups and things like that. So we have had to dilute things, but for the better. So it's sort of, there's no right or wrong answer really, but so you've got to keep your standards. Yes, you've got to keep your standards, but you've got to make it fun for people as well. They're not necessarily so much fun, it still will be fun, but I don't believe in doing game after games like a lot of martial arts instructors might do. You can still have it fun, you still do make sure they're working properly, and it's martial techniques, but keep it fun as well. So yes, no, don't dilute your standards for nobody, but make it easier for people to enjoy martial arts. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I think you've answered this one in the conversation we had, but here it is anyway. Have you intentionally tried something different during a class to make it more interesting and enhance student learning? How did it turn out?
I'm always doing that.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I thought you were going to say, because you had the conversation out the front there and you've answered it.
Yeah, I'm always doing that, and sometimes you end up falling on your face. But I'm happy, and I'll say to people, if I've just gone and I've trained at the weekend with my instructor, I will say to people, I'm going to experiment today. Okay, if it goes wrong, I will change it and we'll do something else. Because unless you're teaching stuff, I just think the teaching side, I've learned just as much from teaching as I have been a student and things like that. And it's not till you start teaching it and playing with things a lot that you get confident at doing it. And I can't necessarily go outside into a nightclub and ask people to work on, does this work, and sort of thing like that. So you have to, and certain techniques will suit some people rather than others, and you've got to get your favourite. You're not going to use something in a self-defense situation if you're uncomfortable using it. You've got to enjoy what you're doing, and that's for me. Yeah, I like that. Like a lot of people don't get on with elbows, so I just love elbows. All the time I'm bringing new stuff into the class, and I always say to my coaches, don't be frightened to doing that, but always have a bit of a backup plan. You've got to be flexible and things like that. And sometimes, definitely when you get that one student that wants to know everything about everything, I keep saying, well, I could do this, I could do that.
What happens if you do this?
And then sort of students, you just have to shut up very quickly or make it work on them. So you know.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
Don't be frightened to bring new things in. You've got to evolve.
At least just to try it and see if it works, and you might end up enjoying it.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, I go and see my instructors probably on the whole average once every 3 months for the weekends and things like that. Then it's going to give me another 3 months. If I'm not bringing it back into my classes and experimenting with it, I'm never going to get familiar with it. So I've got to. And that's when I really annoy my instructors, my students, because I'm bringing new stuff into it, and it's like, what's that? It's like, but this is what I'm playing with now, and it's like different. I'll explain why. Yeah. Most of the stuff I bring back in, they enjoy it, and they see the reasons for doing it. I won't teach nothing that I don't understand or start to understand.
Or can't do yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Apart from, I still teach tornado kicks and things like that. I can't do that anymore, but I'll get somebody else to demonstrate. I understand. I always say, like, moving off track a little bit, swimming coaches don't swim. They still tell you how to swim. It's like Muhammad Ali's coach wasn't better than what he was. It's like, you can still be a good coach and not have to do stuff.
Right.
And that's, well, again, going back to Steve, who can't do his kicks and things like that. He's a brilliant instructor. So yes, you can still teach and not do it, but you've got to understand it. That's the main thing. And if I'm learning stuff, that's why some stuff I'm learning off Steve, I still haven't brought into the class yet, because I don't fully understand it. And I'm not going to look a tip by being a fool and teach something I'm not fully understanding.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you ask a question you won't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, unless I say I'm experimenting. So bear with me with this. But that's the sort of thing I do with my seniors, and not really. Always look credible with beginning students. That's what I was always told. Okay, until they trust you and they tell you they know how good you are. So my instructor drills this into me. Only show your weaknesses to the people that know what you've got.
And they've been there for a long time. They know that you're experimenting, and they know you're fallible.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not invincible.
Yeah. So when you get new people in, they want to see that you know what you know.
Yeah. Invincibility.
Yeah.
Right. This is the last question. Imagine a scenario where the traditional martial arts hierarchy and belt system no longer exist. How would you redefine success, mastery, and progress in martial arts without relying on coloured belts or ranks?
I've actually thought about this, because they don't have belts necessarily in Silat. They don't have belts in Tai Chi. They have sort of ranks in Silat, but in Tai Chi, because as you know, well, we don't know for definite, but we assume that belts come through to please the rest of us and ego and things like that. The only thing I would say with not having belts, it doesn't help the instructor knowing what level people are at.
Yeah, that's what we're teaching you today.
It's like, well, I'm always asking people to forget their belt and I'll tell them to let me know first, obviously. And then I'll ask what grade are you? Because I've got 200 odd students. I'm not going to remember every single student's grade. It helps for that benefit. But for example, when we do sparring and people forget their belts, I say, don't worry about it. You don't need a belt for sparring, right? Because just because you're a brown belt, I could be a white belt, I could still kick your ass. Sometimes it's just it's all subjective, isn't it? They help the instructor, but it would be a lot more interesting, to be fair, if they didn't have belts. You know what I mean? You'd lose the ego so much.
The ego, isn't it?
And that's what martial arts is all about, really, is losing that side of things. It'd be interesting, but it would be harder to teach. I think you'd need, well, you should be able to tell what standard your students are when they're doing stuff anyway. So it would be an interesting call, and I'd be up for giving it a go.
Take the belts off. I've done it before. Go into the class and write it and take the belts off. But everybody knows everybody, so everybody knows what grade you are. But it's interesting to see how much they want to be on the front rank.
Yes.
Until you get to the front rank, and then the next person go in instead of them. But especially the kids, they've got to run up to the front. And then they jostle for position. If they're both red, who got the red first? No, definitely. And that's something I'm really trying to get straight on, having grade order. Because I know you do it in Taekwondo, and I let it go for a while. But now I've started really bringing it back. Yeah. And you do get all. Definitely, there was 2 blue belts. So it's only our second belt, really, second coloured belt. And they always used to go at the back. Oh, the sun's going. They always used to go at the back. But now I've brought that in again and got a lot more strict with it. They hate it. they want to be at the back. Yeah. But I say you've got to earn your position in there. And sometimes you get the purple belts getting a bit cocky because they're at the back, sort of thing. Like, and then I'll change it around. I'll bring them at the front, just to sort of say, look, it's not about power. It's like you're there for a reason. You're there to look at other people to see how well they're doing and help people out. Keep them in mind if there's kids, but help with techniques and.
You can see what's going on at the back. But sometimes I'll change it around. Sometimes anyway, I'll put the seniors at the front, just because they can be copied then from the juniors and things like that. But it's a good idea to, I think, start with junior grades, new grades. It's good to have them at the front so they can see what's going on a bit more. And you can have a bit more of a sort of chat with them and joke and that. An interesting thought. I'll give it a go. Yeah.
Very good. Right, well, that was the last question. Thank you very much. Have you got anything that you'd like to say to everyone?
No, just your question I thought was really good, to be fair. It's really made me think, and it's good to sort of, just like certain stuff that I've been doing for ages to think about, and I see, like, why do I do it like that? And things like that, really. But as I said, I'm very biased in martial arts. I have been doing it 7, I'm 53 this year.
Yeah,
so it's a long time, isn't it? But and I did give up a little bit when I was married and gave. But even now, I'm going through the home doing stuff all the time.
Always practicing.
All the time. And even if I'm not practicing, I'm thinking about it. Even if I roll over in bed, I'm thinking that could have been an elbow, that could have been a knee.
Fall out of bed. Grateful.
Oh, I'm a bit obsessed, but I don't believe there's another sport out there which is has got so many benefits from martial arts, really. And it's not all about the fighting. Yes, I think that's a great part of it, because you're testing to be put under pressure and things like that, really. And not many people know how to react until they've been hit in the face, how they react.
Even if it's just the ball, what do you do if you get hit with the ball?
My biggest fear when I first started was getting knocked out. And I've been knocked out once now, and that was only about 5 years ago, to be fair. And it's like, you're being scared of something. What's the quote? It's never as bad as what it is. Fear, something like that. And it isn't. As I think it was the bloke at AJ knocked out the other day.
Boxing?
In the boxing, he knocked out somebody, and they asked him if it hurt. He said he doesn't know, he was knocked out. And it's true. I didn't know nothing about it, to be fair. And it's fear, and that's why the sparring side of things is really good for people. You've got to do it in a tailored way, because some people are really scared of confrontation and things like that. But what I was saying, really, it's not all about the fighting. It's a good idea to do a level of contact in the classes, but there's so many benefits out there, really. And it's like, it teaches people in life, there's no matter what job you do, what you do in life, there's always going to be some shit aspects of it.
There's always going to be conflict.
There's always going to be something to go and learn. And obviously, as I said, there's so much in martial arts to learn, there's always going to be something that isn't your cup of tea. But that teaches you about life anyway. There's always going to be something that's going to piss you off in life, but you've got to be tolerant and do it sometimes.
And be nice.
Yes, and be nice, yes, definitely.
Magic.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
We'll go for a little wander now.
Yes.